All right, looking at vol, realized vol has been steadily coming down. Bitcoin's back down to about 50. And we've got after spot rejected 100K, and then we've got ETH realized down as well, but settling at around 70, low 70s. Implied vol on BTC was pretty flat in the front end of the curve, whilst ETH did jump quite a bit higher. So that does leave a bit of a different carry situation. We've got a positive carry of about 10 vols in Bitcoin, whilst we've got a neutral carry in ETH right now. The OHLC charts, if you look at them, you know, we had that one blast higher on Bitcoin, and then it's been pretty stable within its implied ranges. Then on the downside, we tested the range, and then since then we've been kind of stable. ETH though blasting miles through the upside, has had like wider swings within its range, has tested the boundaries on the upside and the downside. It's just showing itself to be a lot more volatile, and therefore justifying the vol spread that is occurring in ETH versus Bitcoin. Okay, to me, it still seems a bit premature to be too short gamma here. So I'm not looking to fade the gamma, and I don't think this thing has found an equilibrium yet. Seeing as we've just broken out of these massive ranges, and we don't know really where we're going to settle. So I'd want to wait and see some established ranges before I came and thought about selling any gamma really, in terms of just from a vol perspective. Obviously, if you're putting on hedges and things like that, you can net sell a bit of vol. I'll talk. Obviously, I showed you guys in my portfolio update that I did a put condor structure on ETH to try and add some hedges, but do it in a way that wasn't buying vol. That's the sort of vol selling that I can believe in right now. But other than that, I think it's tough right now to just be outright short gamma with this thing winging around the way it is. So you can see here the curves. So Bitcoin front end not doing too much. Back end actually did catch a bit of a bid. So you see this blue, from light blue to dark blue. You can see longer dated vol was really the one that caught the biggest bid. So we go out as far as September 25, 4 vols higher. Now I do think some of that is due to the fact that longer dated calls were getting bought in the IBIT options that got listed last week. So I do think some of that Vega bid in the IBIT is filtering through to people buying longer dated Deribit vol to kind of hedge some of that exposure that they might have been taken out of. And then that's kind of echoed here. A bit of a parallel move, apart from the super front end, of about 5 vols higher from December expiry all the way out on ETH. And that front end nearly 10 vols higher as ETH realized really doing quite well, realizing about 20 vols over. You can see here on the term structures of skew, front end collapsing on Bitcoin from about +4 to -4, showing that we flipped from call skew to put skew in the front end. The inflection, that doesn't last long though. You go to mid-December and that flips back to neutral. You go to next year and it's all back in call. So very much indicating that near-term caution is here. People using very short-dated puts to protect themselves, but no one really thinks this is anything more than a correction. Ethereum skew, not quite as dramatically dropping in the front. We are slightly input premium, but nothing too bad. And that long end call premium really holding up December onwards in the 4 to even 7, 8 vol range for calls. So Ethereum optimism remains. Ethereum call buying has been there. And, we've very much seen a bit more of a bullish dynamic coming out of the flows in Ethereum than on a relative basis, as we've seen a lot of profit taking on Bitcoin, whereas here in Ethereum, there's still quite a strong bid. Pardon me. Relative value wise, the realized vol obviously outperforming by nearly 20, which means the front end spread, has gone to 15 vols from about 6 vols last week. So really big pop in the front end there. And you can see that comes down to around 10 vols in March, and it settles at around 9 vols in the back end. So ETH very much reasserting itself as the dominant high beta crypto between the two. And we had been flagging that was likely to be the way things were headed, and that seems to be materializing. Looking at relative value on skew, you can see a flip there, which is basically saying that short end calls are better bid on ETH than they are on Bitcoin. Essentially, that's because Bitcoin's flipped into put premium and ETH has kind of stayed more neutral. So that's where you see that front end. But if we look at the back, March onwards, it's all pretty stable around flat to 1 vol. Ethereum trading at a slight premium with calls a bit more expensive. excuse me, cause a bit more expensive than Bitcoin.